What's going on, game players? How are you brothers and sisters doing? I want to welcome you guys to Listener Feedback, episode number 14. I'm your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for stopping by. It truly means a lot. Now, in this week's episode is going to be starring the OG, one of the OGs of the Analog Circle podcast, and that is Mr. Cody Clark. He was the only one that wrote in this week, so this week, brother, this show is yours. This is your show this week, brother. Now, with that being said, for you, the listener, that is listening right now, if you want to be a part of the next episode of Listener Feedback, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, before I get into your email, Cody, I do have a couple of stories here, some gaming stories that I want to go over. A little bit of gaming news, not anything too heavy, but what I wanted to start it off with is The Medium. The Medium has been released this week, and as it stands on Metacritic, it is at a 72 Metascore. Now, that's not the worst score we've seen. It's not. It's average. It's not bad. But the thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people, now once again, I haven't seen anything on Digital Foundry about this. I'm sure they have a video up because this is what they do. But I have heard that the game is running at 900p. Oh, 900p. God dog. Are we back on the Xbox One again? Are we back on the big bone Xbox One? I mean, 900p. Now, keep in mind, I would never say that it is the Series X's fault that it's at 900p. This is on Bloober Team, because we have seen on one of the other analyst videos from Digital Foundry that Hitman 3 is running at a native 4K at 60 frames per second. So it's obvious that the console can absolutely, and we all know this, it can most definitely handle 4K and running at 60 frames per second. Matter of fact, I think they even said the game is running at 30 frames per second. And I think that just goes to the talent of Bloober Team. I mean, we have to remember, this is the same team that was behind Blair Witch. The Blair Witch game that came out and everybody thought that was going to set the gaming world on fire. Oh, this is going to be like Alan Wake. Oh my gosh. We're about to get some fireworks out here, man. Man, if you don't sit down, don't take a seat, sir, and relax. You know, that did not happen. So I'm not shocked that the game isn't getting a whole lot of love right now. I mean, but then the silver lining in this whole situation is that it's on Game Pass. You pay $10 or $15, whatever, pick your poison, whichever one you want. You pay that and you get to play the game for that much money. And on top of that, you also get to choose from several dozens or another 100 other games, as well. So that's a good way to get in, not feel like you're being, ripped off. Maybe you like the game, maybe you don't. But once again, that's the beauty of Game Pass. You don't have to put up a lot of money to get the entertainment. So, yeah, but anyway, Cody, I want to go ahead and jump into your email. And by the way, if any of you guys have played The Medium, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if it was well worth your subscription to Game Pass, or if you would have bought the game on its own. But with that being said, let's go ahead, Cody. Let's get into your first email. Now, the title of your first email is Demanding These Supplies. Now, you said, with people being stuck at home, I am pretty sure gaming is one of the methods that lots of people try to cope / stay mentally healthy. With the ease of finding / making bots that have been used for price manipulation on Amazon and eBay and the likes, I think it shows that e-com is basically the future of commerce. But this also shows that a lot of vendors don't have the tools or don't care about how many/what gets bought as long as they get their markup. I mean, all these shortages and GameStop stock goes up 700%. That's so crazy, I know. Even as they cut jobs and abuse their overworked employees. The part that frustrates me is that both Microsoft and Sony, and let's throw in Nintendo as well, they are not actively fighting, telling, or punishing vendors who are enabling scalping to go on. Somewhere there are warehouses where people have sniped hundreds or even thousands of Xboxes and PlayStation 5s. They could be in family houses providing entertainment. Instead, we have to play whack-a-mole and hope we get something to fall through the cracks. How do we as the consumer make this stop? Whom can we hold accountable? What a privileged bit of anger to have while we deal with a pandemic and huge economic issues. Cody, the OG, I want to thank you, brother, for this email. And we got 3 more to go over, man. Normally, I would have said keep it at 2, but hey, brother, MVP. You the one that wrote in this week, the only one, so I can cover all of them, man. Shout out to you, brother. Now, the thing is, man, who do we blame as the consumer? Listen, I'm going to say this. I go to Sam's Club. I shop at Sam's Club, and I might have told you guys this story, but I don't know. I told you my memory is shot. I got a horrible memory. But I was in Sam's Club before Christmas. This was around maybe October, November, somewhere around in there, where, you know, hand sanitizers and disinfectant wipes and all of that stuff was still in pretty short supply, but heavy demand. So when I went inside there was a police officer, Baltimore County police officer was in there, and I said, shucks, man, they got a whole bunch of them. I've reached to get, 2 of them, 2 different packs. It was a 3-pack. And the officer said, sir, no. We're only allowing 1 per customer. No, he didn't even say 1 per customer. He said 1 per household. So we can't allow you to do that. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll just pick up the 1. I understand. No harm, no foul. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, I can get another one. I mean, how are they going to know? I'm going to go ahead, because what I do is I use the Sam's Club app. I use that, scan my stuff, and I just walk straight out the door. I ain't got to wait in the line. It's the best app ever that I've used when it comes to shopping in the store, because you ain't got to wait in line. It's beautiful. So I said, all right, I'm going to go ahead, pick these up. Then I'm going to wait for the cop to kind of leave the post. I'm going to circle the block inside of Sam's Club, and I'm going to get another set. Another 3-pack, and I'm gonna scan it. So what I did when I finished getting everything, I went on and started scanning all of the items I had. I scanned the first disinfectant pack that I had, and then I went on and put my phone up to scan the next one that I had picked up, the next disinfectant batch of wipes, and it would not scan it. So I said, well, wait a minute. Now, the first one I scanned, that worked. Let me try to scan that again with the phone. Would not scan. So I only bring that up because they could put something in place, Cody, to stop people from doing this. I'm not a software engineer. I don't know how the bot situation works. I don't. But if Sam's Club can do it for an item that's in high demand and they're trying to get it to as many people as they can, by having it be limited just 1 per household, then I can't imagine that they wouldn't be able to do the same at Walmart. I mean, Walmart and Sam's Club, aren't they like sister stores or something like that related? I don't know, but Walmart, Target, Best Buy, those guys could put something in place, I believe. Now, I understand also I had to go in person. It was something I had to scan with my phone, but I can't imagine that it has to be that much of a bigger difference if you're shopping online. So I would say that the blame should go to the companies, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. But once again, They only care about the bottom line, Cody. We all know this, brother. You know, we're nothing but a walking dollar sign to them. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know, I give them money, and in turn, they give me entertainment that I enjoy. To me, it's a fair exchange. It's not a right. But also, I do know that they're corporations and they want their money. And, you know, bottom line is the only thing that matters. So we should definitely hold them accountable. But what can we really do? You know, as far as like sending a message that we don't want this to happen, that's where it gets a little cloudy, because we want these consoles. We want them. But are we going to boycott them at the same time? No, I'm not going to give you my money because you won't keep them in stock. I mean, in essence, we can't give them our money anyway because they're not in stock. So what do you do? Cody, what do you do, brother? But in short, that's what I believe. I think you hold the companies accountable. But once again, what are the repercussions of holding them accountable? You know, because you can't even say, I'm not giving them my money. Because that kind of defeats the purpose. You want the console, and to get the console, you got to spend your money. So it's like a catch-22. What do you do, Cody? What can you do, my good brother? Man, oh man. That's my take on it. But we do have some more emails from you, brother, and I'm going to get to those other ones in just a second. Now, what I did want to tell you guys, as far as gaming news goes, another light story, nothing heavy. PlayStation Plus. Man, they looking real good for February, brothers. Man, brothers and sisters, they got some stuff going on in PlayStation Plus that's looking real nice. So you get Destruction All-Stars on the PlayStation 5, which is a brand spanking new game. Shout out to them. I'm really interested to see how this game comes out. You're going to be getting that as well. And this was kind of a shocker. The PlayStation 5 version of Control will also be included in the PlayStation Plus games for February. And you'll also be getting Concrete Genie, which that game looks beautiful. I still have not picked that game up, but it piqued my interest so much. Just the art style and, you know, the way the game looked. And it seemed like the premise, he was being bullied or something like that. Just a pretty game. Really interested in that and still got to get that. But you'll be able to You will have until April 5th to download Destruction All-Stars, and you'll have until March 1st to download Concrete Genie and Control. That's a solid list, man. Shout out to Sony for continuing to put very, very good games into their service. I mean, golly, wasn't Destruction All-Stars supposed to originally been a $70 game? I think this is like a full retail priced game. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I thought it was it was one of those regular retail games, not one of the smaller titles. But I'm starting to ramble. So, Cody, I'm going to jump into your second email here, brother. Now, the title of your email is Player 01 online. Player 01 went offline. Oh, shucks. He says, wow. The Star Wars Star Wars of the Old Republic, being a no-name studio. That seems strange, because Disney has all the cash. So why would they go to a nobody? The idea you suggested, as it may be being a mobile game, sounds like that would be a brilliant call out. Hey, brother, Cody, brother, I ain't gonna lie to you. I am truly guessing and spitballing at this point, brother. It really threw me off too. I'm in your same boat. If it's a no-name studio, the only thing that I could think of outside of a Sobo possibly being maybe the studio, because I don't think they're a household name. But I started thinking, man, maybe it's just mobile. I tell you, Cody, I hope it's not. It would be a tragedy if it is just a mobile game, you know. So I hope that maybe it's just a studio it's not on our radar, and they're going to do an awesome job. But let me continue with your email here, brother. He says, I don't even want to pretend I have any idea what Disney and LucasArts is planning. Much like your comments about how corporations are not our friends. Yeah, brother, we already know it, man. We know. The House of the Mouse is not going to make a custom Star Wars story for every single individual fan. So who knows? I agree. He says also, does Sony, he spelled it Sony. Well, I like that, brother. Sony have a game streaming service? Yeah, they do. They got that streaming service. I think it's filled with a lot of PlayStation 2 games. That's what a lot of people say. Remember, that thing was so expensive, Cody. At one time, they kind of cannibalized the sales because wasn't it like $24.99 a month? I mean, it was some absorbent. Am I saying that right? I don't know. It was some crazy amount of money that they wanted. People were like, oh, heck no, we ain't paying that for that service. Are you crazy? But, let me see. Where did I leave off on your email, brother? Oh, he says PS Now isn't the same thing as Xbox Live. That's the name of it. PlayStation Now. No, it's not. It's not, brother. It's totally streaming. You can't download. Well, I don't know. Didn't they say that you can start downloading some of the games after a while? Some of them are still streaming, but some you can do. I don't know, man. This stuff starts to run together so much as the years go on. But, let me see. He says, I don't even know. I recall Sony's online. I don't even know. I don't either, Cody. I don't know either. He says, I recall Sony's online being totally rebuilt from the ground up due to their promises of the PS4. Is it even any good? I have friends who played Overwatch on the PS4. That is really it. No idea. Hope your new year has gotten off to a great start. I appreciate this one as well, Cody. That's why I was asking, brother. I don't have any of the services. I don't play online. I don't have Game Pass because you guys know I rather own my games. I'd rather, be able to pick them up and play them anytime I want to instead of relying on the service where it might be taken out of there before I could finish it. So I just like that convenience of having the physical copy or the digital copy. It doesn't have to be physical. Just I know that I own it so I can play it whenever I want pretty much for as long as I want. And I understand that somebody's going to come out and say, well, if you can't get the updates and it's offline, how are you really going to play? I get it, man. But shucks, it makes me feel good. Doggone. It makes me feel good that I have the game and I know I own it. I know it's a loophole in there where just because you own the game doesn't mean that you really own the game. I get it. But for me, that's just how I view it. But yeah, I don't really know too much about the services, as it stands, because you guys know I don't play online. I'm getting mopped online if I play some Call of Duty or some Battlefield or Overwatch. Shout out to you, Cody, for that one, brother. I know my limitations when it comes to playing against people. I am not the best game player. I'm not. I can put that out there. I love gaming so doggone much. It is my favorite hobby. I've been playing since I was 6 years old. But just because I've been playing since I was 6, that don't mean that my skill set has gotten so amazingly great. Let me tell you, when I used to play my friends over at their houses, we were playing Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat or Madden or NBA Live back when that was just that was the best basketball game ever. Man, brothers, it was like a 50-50 toss-up. Sometimes I would win, sometimes I just get the doors blown off of me. But I'll say that my 2 favorite games that were online, and it was because I had a fighting chance. It was Fight Night and it was Rockstar's Table Tennis. Man, I would get busy in those. I was pretty good. I really, really loved playing online with those games because team-based games, I'm not going to be too good for you. I'm not going to do great. But if it's solely on me and it's a 1v1 game, I would play that. And that way I don't feel bad if the team loses because of me, because it's just me. I don't want to drag the team down. But yeah, those are the games that I play, but I haven't been online in years, man. I haven't used the service. I just been off doing my own thing. So I can't even compare the 2 services either, Cody. That's why I was trying to ask you guys the question, which was the better service? Because when Microsoft was about to do that price hike on Xbox Live Gold, people were saying that how the world are they going to do that? And they don't even have they're not even giving the best games with the service. Here you have PlayStation. They are giving, value with their service. And I mean, God dog, I mean, it's clearly showing when you look at this PlayStation Plus lineup for February. Destruction All-Stars being a brand spanking new game that they're putting into the service, as well as Control the PlayStation 5 version. Even though it's not a new game, that version of the game is brand new. So it's some value there. It's a nice value. And then they throw in Concrete Genie, a AA type of game, but it's still a pretty looking game. So yeah, it has the value attached to the name of the service, whereas on Xbox Live, I don't hear as many people raving about the service and the 2 games that they give you for free. Most of the time, people are complaining and saying that it's not even worth it if you're in there strictly just for the free games. You're better off going over to Game Pass and getting that service. So that's kind of where I'm at. But once again, if anybody does want to chime in on that, please let me know. Let us know. What service do you prefer the most? Is it Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus? Or do both of them have certain things that you like and dislike? But yeah, Cody, thank you for this email, brother. I know you got 2 more here, so I'm going to jump into your next one. But before I get into that email, I did want to let you guys know that speaking of the Xbox Series X and S being in short supply, as you had brought up, Cody, and who do we point the blame at as consumers? Earlier today, Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood over at Microsoft has warned that the supply pipeline for the Series X and S will likely be, quote, constrained, end of quote, for the rest of this quarter. So basically they were saying don't expect to see many on store shelves or online until after March 31st, 2021. So hopefully, Cody, after this quarter is over, man, April, May, June, going into the spring and the summer, getting further away from the holiday season. I mean, holiday season is over, but just kind of taking it out a little bit further. Hopefully, that what the Chief Financial Officer, Amy Hood, said will be true. Sometime around between April and May, they'll start revving up more consoles. Well, not revving up more consoles, but revving up more production on the consoles. And we also got to remember, I mean, yeah, COVID-19 is a real thing. I'm sure it definitely impacted quite a few things. Or not quite a few. Of course, it impacted a lot of things. But as far as the production goes, I know that it definitely had to have had a very, very bad effect on how many both Xbox and PlayStation are able to make because of the pandemic. So yeah, hopefully, once again, like I was just saying, and Amy, maybe April, May, and June, stock will start getting bigger and bigger, and we'll be able to get them a little more freely. But then what makes me wonder about that too, Cody, is taxes, brother. People are getting tax money. And I talked about that before. That's a lot of disposable income for some children. Man, let me tell you something, just on a side note. People with children, I am so mad at y'all. I am so envious. Oh my gosh, I am so envious of y'all. Here I'm over here. I just filed my taxes. God dog. Man, I put 0 everything. And I still owe. How the world do you put 0 on everything and you still owe the government money? Here it is. I got friends, man, they got 1 kid, 2 children, man, they getting back thousands of dollars. And since I don't have children, trust me, I don't want the responsibility. So I mean, hey, I will pay the government their money. But just for this time of year, just this time, I say to myself, golly, I wish I could claim 2 or 3 children. I wish I could, because the tax returns Some of these brothers and sisters are getting god dog, man. Oh my gosh. They make people with no children. Oh, we're suffering. Oh my goodness. We are suffering when it comes to tax time. But that's the game, man. That's the game. Anyway, Cody, let me go ahead and read your next email, man. Oh man, I was sick. I was sick the whole day when my tax man, shout out to him, told me that I owed, man. I went home and I said, yeah, how in the world is this possible? How is it possible? I gave him all their money. And I guess I just did not give enough. When is enough, god dog it? Anyway, Cody, let's talk about this, man. So the title of your email is Cyber Update 2021. Now, you said, I am really happy to hear your take on Cyberpunk 2077. Brother, I love that game, man. I kind of listened back to that last episode. And I know it probably came off like I was doing the most. I was being extra when I said I really had a dream about Cyberpunk. I'm not lying to y'all. I'm telling the honest truth. I laid down with the sleep and I was in Night City. I was dreaming, man. Game had me hooked, brothers. I really meant that. I know it probably came off as this brother capping, man. Shout out to Z Cap. Z trips me out. That's my dude, man. Brother has coined the term capping and coded. I know you guys probably thought that's what I was doing, but I really genuinely meant I had that dream. But anyway, let me get into your email here, Cody. I'm starting to ramble, brother. He says, I was really happy to hear your take on Cyberpunk 2077. He says, I picked it up day one and played it on my old Xbox S before I got my hands on the Series S. Loading is a real thing, brother. God dog. Those loading screens are horrendous. He says loading. Dag, where's it at? Okay, loading is a real thing, and besides frame rates when driving, the game didn't do me wrong. I didn't start really getting into it heavy until I got the S series all hooked up. I tell you what, the loading times and quick resume make me feel very spoiled, and I doubt I could go back to the OG or the prior generation. Let me tell you, brother, I can't wait to get the Series X just for the load times on that game alone. I'm sitting there, Cody, and I know you know this, brother, because you were playing it on the last generation hardware. When I tell you, sitting there waiting for that load screen, God, dog. As I'm sitting there waiting, I'm saying to myself, I really want a Series X just to get the load times moving a little faster. But let me get on to your email, man. It's definitely horrible though, the load times. And yeah, I'm sure when I get the Series X, I'm not going back to the big bone. I'm not going back, brother. I'm packing it up. I'm going to put it with the other vintage consoles, and that's going to be it. It's going to be a wrap. Now, he says when comparing, I guess he meant to, I think you meant to say comparing, Cody. When comparing the game to something like Borderlands 3, I have to say it is quite an achievement. Borderlands 3 and all of its DLC and more DLC and more DLC, and that game is buggier than a campsite in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. God, dog. He says, so for people to QQ at it and curse it and say it is the worst thing since the Great Depression or Crystal Pepsi. God, dog. Crystal Pepsi. Hey, Cody. Hey, brother. You showing your age like me, brother. Crystal Pepsi. Golly. Man, good gosh. I heard that a long time. He says, well, they are just grass in the wind. Every game has its problems. I have suffered a lot more crazy events in Crackdown 3 and Halo 5 or Saints Row. I feel that. He says, and so many crashes and unexplained items, dupes, and BL3, Borderlands 3. So I get it. CD Projekt Red made it big after The Witcher 3 and then promised the moon and delivered an 8x11 half glossy picture, or 8x11 half glossy picture of the moon. Well, that is what they claim. Once people make up their mind, it is very difficult for them to see anything counter to the point of view and change their mind. Case in point, still not, oh, come on, Cody, still not getting a PS5. Golly. Have a great week, Kay. Look forward to your next batch of feedback, and I hope you can get your paws on an Xbox X series soon. I appreciate that. Man, you guys who have been listening, y'all know I've been trying to get my man Cody to pick up a PlayStation 4. First it was the 4. Then I was like, okay, that generation is coming to an end. Are you going to get the 5? You got Miles Morales. You got God of War Ragnarok. You got Ratchet and Clank. I mean, all of these beautiful games that are coming out. Horizon Forbidden West. Are you going to get a PS5 a chance, Cody? Cody simply said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting the PS5. It is not for me. I've been trying, but you know what, Cody? I respect that you are standing firm on your square, that you are not, and I mean this brother is vehemently not getting a PS5. I respect it. I think maybe a game might come out, Cody. I'm going to hold out hope for you, brother. That maybe a game comes out and you're like, oh, I got to get it for that. I doubt it, because last generation during the PS4 era, it was so many amazing games that released. And if that didn't entice you, man, I don't know. I just don't know what's going to be able to do it. But Cody, I'm telling you, man, good points here, though. Where you were saying that, you know, sometimes when people's minds are made up and they're set on that one thing, you can't tell them anything. Once again, man, listen, Cyberpunk, I told you guys, I got it for half off. I got it after the launch week when the bugs were running rampant. I've had a couple of updates that have been, you know, patched through to the game since I bought it. You know, last Saturday sometime, or last week sometime. And, you know, I wasn't there when it was just, good grief, just unplayable. According to some people, it was just so unplayable and the worst thing ever. But what I have played, man, I have really, really had a great time. It's been an awesome game. Matter of fact, Digital Foundry, they did do an analysis earlier today where they were talking about that I thought it was the 1.1 patch, but they're saying it's the 1.10 patch that they were showing on the PS4. It really got some good bumps in the visual quality. The Xbox One, it didn't really fare as well, but they did have a few things that they did. And I'm talking about just strictly the visual quality on the Xbox One version, but they were able to make some other changes. The frame rate, even though it's not running at a solid 30 frames per second on either, it's at least better. The performance is better. So, I mean, they're getting their footing up under them. And people sometimes forget that The Witcher 3, like you mentioned, Cody, that's where they got their not their start, but that was their breakout party. When everybody started paying attention to CD Projekt Red was during The Witcher 3, which still was one of the shining stars to me of last generation. It was absolutely incredible, an amazing game. But with that being said, though, The Witcher 3, it came out not as optimized and as great as it ended up being. As time went on, CD Projekt Red, the game did have bugs when it first came out. Now, granted, I didn't play the game again when it first came out. I got it maybe a year later because I only got it because so many people were talking about it and saying it was so amazing. It was the best game they had ever played. It won all of these awards. So during a Black Friday sale, I had picked it up. And by the time I got it, it was way past the patching point. Everything was up to snuff, and things were running well with the game. So people sometimes forget that was the situation that CD Projekt Red went through with The Witcher 3. And I'm not saying that makes it okay for them to do the same thing with Cyberpunk 2077, but this is not unlike, something that we haven't seen from CD Projekt Red in the past. So they continue to make the game get better. I've been enjoying it. It's been fun. The story has been really holding my attention. The environment, the gameplay has been great. And, like I said, I know I got it for $35, almost half off. Got the steel case with it. That added a little bit of bonus value to the game for me. But even at the $60 price point, and golly, I didn't mention this. I meant to say this. What they give you with the game, CD Projekt Red, they take me back to a time in gaming when you picked up a game, you actually got the books, they gave you the map, they gave you these little extra things when you bought the game, and today, you don't see that. They don't even give you a booklet. The only thing they give you with these physical copies of the games now is sometimes you'll get a code to be able to download a digital item, or they'll give you a booklet of another game, just advertising another game that they want you to pick up. But with CD Projekt Red, they really give you a lot of stuff with the game. I mean, they gave a map, they gave the Night City map, and some other stuff that I was able to, I saw that anybody would see that got the game, and you can tell they care, man. They really, and once again, I'm not fooled. These companies, they are not your friends, but mine either. But what they did, that packaging, that to me said that they care about what they're selling. They want to give you something to let you know, hey, we appreciate your business. We appreciate you coming by, picking up the game, and supporting us. And you get that. I mean, I couldn't believe all of the stuff that I got inside of the Cyberpunk 2077, the sleeve that they have on top of the game case. It was awesome, man. It was just like The Witcher 3. So for people that say that, oh man, they've lost it, they're totally shot with the gaming community, they messed up, I don't buy into that. I don't. I think that, it was a situation. Listen, the big heads, pause on that, but the big heads, the big wigs at the company, they made a decision. The developers, they had to follow through with what was said, and they had no choice in the matter. And yeah, it didn't come out great. I think, and I'll stand on this too, I think it got more, it was a bigger deal than what it should have been. People probably were putting a little more spice on the story than it needed to be about the game. But I thought that it came out great, man. I'm rambling at this point, my bad. But Cody, I appreciated this email, man. Sometimes people, it's nothing you can do, it's nothing you can say. Golly, Bethesda. People ain't complaining this much about Fallout, what was it, Fallout 4? And we all know that game came out bugged. And they didn't even do basically hardly any work to that game. People talked about how there was something charming about the bugs in the game, and all of a sudden, CD Projekt Red, they come up with Cyberpunk 2077. It's the end of the goddamn gaming world. They've done the worst. And even Cody said that Borderlands 3 even has a ton of bugs. He didn't say a ton of bugs, but he said it's buggy. So, golly, man, stop making a doggone hill out of an ant farm. I don't know. Y'all know the saying, doggone it. Anyway, man, stop making a mole out of, man, I ain't going to remember it. Y'all know the saying. Anyway, man, let's just talk about some more of this gaming news, man. So, Marvel Avengers. Game hasn't been doing great either. It's one of those games that has struggled, post-launch. But stop making a ant out of a molehill. Stop making an anthill out of a molehill. Man, I tried it, God dog, and I tried. It ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna remember. But Marvel's Avengers. On the PlayStation 5 release and the Xbox Series X release of the game, they're going to be giving more information on that during a showcase. It's going to be at a showcase along with the upcoming Hawkeye content on February 16th at the latest War Table. So be on the lookout for that. February 16th, if you were interested in knowing when the PS5 version and the Series X version of the game will be released, we will get the information there. I'm sure they'll probably go over more content. Probably will figure out when Spider-Man is coming to the PlayStation 4/5 version of the game during that conference too. But Cody, let me see what else you got here, brother. Matter of fact, you got just one more. Golly, I done been through almost 4 of yours already. Okay, now this is the last one for the episode, guys. The title of this one, Cody wrote in, is called Wow. He says, I wonder if they will sell their IPs. I mean, we always want Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid. You talking about Konami? Metal Gear Solid. He says, or if they will be a corporation and sit on them and make a bunch of video poker and pachinko. Oh yeah, you got to be talking about Konami pachinko machines. You sent me an article here, Cody. I'm not prepared. So what happened, Cody? They said, let me see. You sent me a Kotaku article. They said they're not shutting it down. Nah, Cody, they said they're not shutting it down, brother. They, hold on, let me see something. Hold on, let me pull this up. They're not shutting down. Konami has not shut down its video gaming division. Newsletter, conditions. Oh, no, they got a statement here, Cody. They said that it says, quote, over here on Kotaku, it says the announcement made refers to an internal restructure with production divisions being consolidated. We have not shut down our video gaming division. End of quote. So, nah, they ain't shut it down, Cody. They didn't shut it down, bro. Oh, you sent golly. I should have looked at your other email, brother. Pardon me. He did say that it was a mistake. He didn't read the article. Nah, man, yeah. It doesn't seem like they're shutting it down, brother. Matter of fact, it's alive, and I don't know if it's well, but yeah, they're not shutting it down. That would have been interesting if that was the case, because we hear so much stuff as the years go on, and weeks and months, where sometimes I'll just go back to some podcasts and just sit and see what was true and what wasn't. The other day, I'm gonna tell you, and Cody, thank you for the email too, brother. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the feedback for the week. But what I wanted to say was, I went back. I listened to some of the older podcasts, sometimes from other people, and just listen to how they were speculating, and this was gonna happen, that was gonna happen, and you're like, man, we were so off the mark when we thought that this was the move that they were gonna make, or this was gonna happen. It's just fun to go back and just listen to that stuff. Matter of fact, like I was saying, we had heard, that's what I was trying to get to. We had heard that Microsoft or Capcom, well, Capcom was in a very, very bad way, where we had heard rumors that they were going to be selling off their IPs, and they were going to be, selling them off at half the price point and all of this stuff. And it never came true, but everybody thought it was. Konami, we thought that Sony was going to do something with them buying the Metal Gear Solid IP. That turned out not to be true after, Kojima left. People said, oh man, it's going downhill and it'll never be the same. That seems to be standing firm and true right now. But who knows what they're going to do, Cody? It'll be I can't wait to see what they do at Castlevania. We haven't seen Castlevania in years. I mean, we got that spiritual successor to it. What was it? Bloodstained, I believe, that came out. And matter of fact, that's in Game Pass, actually. That came out, did pretty good. So, I mean, we haven't seen a brand new Mega Man. No, Mega Man is Capcom. Pardon me, brother. I'm going too far left. But anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, Cody. I mean, if they will allow their IPs to be kind of like Disney is doing, that they're letting others take over. Man, my voice is all messed up, man. Excuse me. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with this. I'm interested to know what happens with the Metal Gears, with the Castlevanias, with Contra. I know Contra was just released, but that really wasn't Contra. That wasn't really the one that I was brought up on. So yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But I want to say this too. Just thinking about, back in the day stuff. I listened to my first podcast that I did. I might even repost that joint, man. Just as a throwback. Man, you want to talk about something horrendous. God, dog. I would recommend anybody go back and listen to that first podcast. Those first couple of podcasts almost 5 years ago, man. It's been almost 5 years now that I've been doing the podcast, and I just cringed so bad, man. It was so horrible listening to those early episodes, but it was fun just to go back and just listen and kind of remembering what I was doing at the time when I was trying to come up with the format and the stories and all of that stuff. It's just interesting, man. I would recommend just go back and listen to those, man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun for me, especially just listening to those. But yeah, man, that's about it, man, for this episode. Man, speaking of nostalgia, what are some of you guys' favorite, before we get up out of here, what are some of you guys' favorite TV themed songs, man? Some of mine, I think about Punky Brewster back in the day. Man, I'm showing my age. Punky Brewster. Back in the day when Punky Power got dug it, man. I mean, good grief. I think about that theme song, Family Matters. That was one of my favorites. Cosby Show. Man, what else, man? So many, A Different World. That was one of my favorites too. Just thinking about those different theme songs really puts me in a certain space. It really takes me back to a certain time, what I was doing. That's the power of just music in general. So I'm just curious to know, what was some of you guys, favorite TV theme songs? I'm just interested in that, man. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here, man. And I'll see you guys next week. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to leave y'all with a bit of a gem at the end of this episode. You tell me if it sparks up any nostalgia for any of you guys. But we will be back at it on Sunday. Going over some more of the gaming news. A lot, I'm sure, is going to be, hopefully we get a lot more news by that time. I'm sure this time last week, none of us expected that the next day Xbox Live would have been almost about to double. So we might get some more bad news, but until we find out, stay tuned. So Sunday, we're going to be back at it, and I will talk to you guys then.